Chapter 161 arrived. Grilled meat. Grilled meat, roasted buns, peppered vegetables, chili, sour plums and stew brewed from beef became a hearty meal for Huo Yuao and his friends. In Shrek Academy, Huo Yuao was rather selective about the food he ate. While he was not picky, he had to admit that Juzi's culinary skills were decent. The meal helped the three of them to bond, and reduce the distance between the three new students. So, I am right? Sister Juzi's food is indeed tasty. Let's see if you dare to offend us in the future. If not for Sister Juzi's kindness, we would not have given this meal to you. KK informed him. Huo Yuao chuckled and said, Sister KK, please don't keep thinking about that incident that day. Why don't you let me cook dinner instead, as a form of apology to you and Sister Juzi? You can cook. Juzi and KK asked simultaneously. While Juzi's face brimmed with curiosity, KK's face was full of doubt. Huo Yuao smiled and said, after I try, you'll know. When I first came to Shrek Academy, I survived by selling grilled fish. If I hadn't done that, how could an orphan like me afford the school fees? When they heard the word orphan, the gazes of both girls turned soft. The change in Juzi's emotions was natural, but KK was better at concealing it. However, the change in her eyes could not escape Huo Yuao's observation. They were indeed two kind seniors. Okay, you are in charge of dinner. However, to preserve their freshness, I did not bring much food. When we arrive at the Jingyang Mountain Range, we may have to make do with what we find there. The three of them continued on their journey. This was not Juzi and KK's first time going to the Jingyang Mountain Range. As they flew, Juzi told Huo Yuao about some of the do's and don'ts. The Jingyang Mountain Range resembles a huge spider. The central mountains occupy a vast space, and they branch out in 8 different directions. Like the legs of a spider, the branches surround the central mountains, protecting them. There aren't a lot of soul beasts in the branches, which are rich in mineral resources. However, the central mountains are full of soul beasts, and many of them are powerful, particularly around Jingyang Peak. Huo Yuao asked curiously, with the power of the Sun Moon Empire and its progress in soul tool technology, it wouldn't be difficult for them to harness the resources of the Jingyang Peak, right? Juzi shook her head and said, don't underestimate Jingyang Peak. In the continent, the Great Stardo Forest near Shrek Academy is undoubtedly the top gathering area for soul beasts, but Jingyang Peak is definitely within the top 5 worldwide. To take advantage of the resources here, one would need to use a long-range soul tool to carpet bomb this place. Even so, the soul beasts would retaliate furiously, and there would be many casualties. While a huge amount of mineral resources can be found in the Jingyang Mountain Range, we from the Sun Moon Empire view the soul beasts as valuable resources. 2. Since they are valuable resources, we cannot drain the pond to look for fish. After all, in terms of soul beasts, the Sun Moon Empire cannot compare to the 3 big states of the Douluo continent. The Jingyang Mountain Range contains the greatest amount of soul beasts in our country, and we are more keen on preservation. Hence, despite knowing that there are many precious mineral resources, we will only exploit those found in the branches. However, we have stationed a huge army near the Jingyang Mountain Range. Here, Juzi suddenly stopped. She looked at Huo Yuao and smiled. I can't tell you more. These are military secrets. Huo Yuao smiled and replied, I don't want to know anything military. It has nothing to do with me. KK said, we have told you so much already. Shouldn't you share a bit about yourself? You have only 3 soul rings, so why are you so powerful? What power did you use that day? Looking at the curious expressions on the faces of the 2 girls, Huo Yuao smiled and said, I am a twin-souled soul master. When they heard the 4 words, twin-souled soul master, Juzi and KK could not help but open their eyes wide. KK's eyes were almost glittering as she said, whoa, so twin-souled soul masters aren't a myth. No wonder you're so powerful. The 2 girls were more surprised than Huo Yuao had expected. This made him feel slightly odd. Are there no twin-souled soul masters in the Sun Moon Empire? Juzi shook her head and said, no, I can be sure. In the history of the Sun Moon Empire, there has never been any twin-souled soul masters. Even in the Douluo continent, it is considered rare. KK was more excited as she said, tell us, what are the differences between your 2 souls? What are your martial souls? Huo Yuao was silent. Perhaps it was because he, Wang Dong and Xia Xiao were all twin-souled soul masters, but he did not think much of his status as a twin-souled soul master. Furthermore, he was not born with a second soul. Instead, the Sky Dream Ice Worm gave it to him. In the past few years, regardless of whether it was Sky Dream, the Ice Empress, or Electrolux, they had all been very quiet. Occasionally, when he reached a certain level of cultivation, they would release some of their seal power for him. However, beyond that, they did not really have a huge impact on him. Instead, it appeared as if they wanted him to improve by himself. However, Huo Yuao was clear that the Ice Empress, Sky Dream, and Electrolux were his main sources of support and his true shield. They feared that he would become overdependent on them, and hence they rarely appeared. In the past 2 years, they had been happy with his progress. My main martial soul is a spiritual type, and my auxiliary martial soul is an ice type. I have rank 40 soul power. However, as I could not find an appropriate spiritual type soul beast, I have yet to add a soul ring. No wonder your 3 soul rings are so powerful. Juzi said in shock. Not only do you have 2 martial souls, but your soul power is also at rank 40. A spiritual type martial soul. That's rare indeed. The school has been searching for a spiritual type soul master, though I do not know what for. Huo Yuao's heart missed a beat. He realized that it was the right choice to follow these 2 girls out. Perhaps Teacher Sun would be more careful and prevent him from knowing too much about the inner workings of the Soul Moon Imperial Soul Engineering Academy. But Juzi and KK were much less guarded against him. Anything they said thoughtlessly would be helpful to him. So what are your soul skills? Especially the one that distorted the surrounding rays of light which stopped me from taking clear aim at you. KK asked curiously. Juzi frowned and said, KK, it was taboo to ask the soul master about his soul skills. Huo Yuao, however, answered nonchalantly. That's one of my auxiliary soul skills, called spiritual interference. Through my spiritual power, I used it to affect you. Anyone within the radius of my spiritual interference will have lowered accuracy. Only those whose spiritual power is superior to mine will be less affected. KK followed up with another question. So what's the radius of your spiritual interference? Huo Yuao smiled and did not reply. He could not answer that. This was his true secret. Juzi glared at KK, who stuck out her tongue and stopped asking. Evidently, she knew that she had gone overboard too. When the western skies turned into a beautiful dusk, they finally reached their destination. From far above in the sky, one could tell that the Jingyang Mountain Range resembled a huge spider, or an octopus, that lay splayed on the ground, majestic and awe-inspiring. While they were both gathering points for soul beasts, Huo Yuao sensed that it was different from the Great Stardo Forest. The Great Stardo Forest seemed endless. Here, however, one could sense a raw, fearsome smell. In terms of depth, it could not compare to the Great Stardo Forest. However, it was clearly more aggressive. We shall rest nearby for the night, and tomorrow we will try the soul tool. At the same time, we will try our luck and see if we can find a suitable soul beast for you. Juzi said. The 3 of them landed a few hundred kilometers away from the foot of the Jingyang Mountains. They found an elevated piece of land and pitched their tents there. With their storage-type soul tools, they were able to bring enough items for all of them. 3 people, 3 tents. Aided by Huo Yuao, they were able to quickly set these tents up. KK looked at Huo Yuao, who was hurriedly setting up his own tent, and said with a smile, I remember someone saying that it's show time tonight. Don't disappoint us. Huo Yuao chuckled and said, of course, let me prepare. Please wait while I see if there are suitable ingredients nearby. The fresher, the better. As he said that, KK and Juzi saw a golden light flashing from his eyes. The moment they saw the golden radiance, their hearts skipped a beat. They could still clearly remember the power he had emitted. Huo Yuao looked into the distance and slowly turned around. He expanded his field of view. KK asked Juzi in a low voice, the sky is dark. Is he using his eyes to search for food? Without waiting for Juzi to reply, Huo Yuao's figure shimmered. In the blink of an eye, he disappeared. Juzi replied in a low voice, he is indeed powerful. Earlier, I thought that a soul master could not compare to a soul engineer of the same rank. However, looking at it now, this notion seems ludicrous. Even now, we have yet to see him use any powerful soul skills. With his own martial prowess, he was able to render us defenseless. I dare say that in the wild, and with sufficient distance, even the four of us would not be his match. KK nodded and said, his spiritual interference targets us soul engineers in particular. I just hope that its radius isn't too wide. Juzi laughed and said, he is not our true enemy. After all, he is just an exchange student from Shrek Academy. Who knows, maybe we can learn something from him. However, are we really going to eat his food? KK snickered and said, that brat did insist on cooking for us despite having tasted your food for lunch, which means that he should be relatively skilled, right? If we don't try, how will we know? Who knows, maybe you will even realize your goal of finding a lover who can cook. Juzi coughed, and her face turned red. Don't spout nonsense. He isn't that old. If you look carefully at his skin, you will see that despite his size, his face is still supple and youthful. The soft hairs at the side of his lips have just started to harden. He should only be about 15 or 16 years old, and is surely much younger than us. KK looked at her with oddly and said, wow, Sister Juzi, you are observant indeed. Juzi said unkindly, what is going in your head? Know oneself and know your enemy, only then can you win. As they spoke, who are you? Returned. His right hand appeared to be clutching something. As it was dark already, they couldn't see what it was. Then, he busied himself. Juzi and KK did not notice what wild beast Who are you caught. When they took notice, all they could see was strips of meat. Each strip of meat had been sliced evenly. They were the size of a palm, and as thick as two thumbs. Not too thick, not too small. It was time to start a fire. The moment he thought about fire, a shiver went down Who are Yu's heart. He could not help but to look into the distance. Sister, where are you? As he thought about the missing Marshata, his mood soured. However, he did not stop what he was doing. After a while, a fire was burning. He turned his head to look at the two girls who were staring at him and said, come, seniors, and prepare to feast. My meat must be eaten as soon as it's ready to preserve its taste. As he said that, he took out 3 small bowls. He added something into each of the bowls, which looked like a translucent brown sauce. Then, he distributed forks to the two girls, grill the meat, and then eat it with some sauce. Let's start. As he said that, Who are you? I used his fork to take a slice of meat off a branch. His wrist twirled, and that meat was cooked over the fire. Then he twirled his hand again, and the meat landed in Juzi's bowl. Under the light from the fire, both Juzi and KK's faces were red. They looked rather seductive. Juzi had been noticing Who are Yu's actions. From his skilled actions, it was clear that this was not his first time grilling meat. She looked down and noticed that the sizzling meat was still slightly pink. It was not fully cooked. Eat it while it's hot. It tastes best this way. As Who are you said that, a second piece of meat was ready. It dropped into KK's bowl. Juzi loved to eat. When she heard that, she did not think on it any further. With the fork, she picked up the slice of meat and gently lathered some sauce over it. Then, she placed it in her mouth. The sauce was not strong, but was extremely fragrant. The meat was extremely smooth after it had been lathered with sauce. After it entered her mouth, she chewed on it a while, and it melted and went smoothly down her throat. The fragrance and silky texture almost made Juzi bite her tongue. Thanks so much for watching this video. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. Also leave a comment down below with suggestions on what novels to read.